Trump orders reclassification of marijuana, downgrading its drug schedule. This is the big, like, break glass in case of emergency red button.
Pilots. They're pretty amazing. Hello, everybody.
Patriots, we are in danger.
Thank you very much.
No, please.
Well, it's a big day and many reasons, really for many reasons, and I have a very distinguished group of people behind me, mostly medical people and brilliant people, and they really know what they're doing. And I just want to thank them. They truly gave their lives in terms of the time and all of the incredible work they've done over the years in arriving at the position they have now. Most respected people in the country. Today I'm pleased to announce that I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule I to a Schedule III controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. We have people begging for me to do this, people that are in great pain. For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more, including numerous
Why do it now, Mr. Trump?
Veterans with service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life. And it's
remember, by the way, that Biden could have done this basically at any point that he wanted to. And the reason he didn't is because he hates you. He literally, like, his administration was signaling the entire time that, I'm sorry, his campaign was signaling in the lead up to 2020 that it was something that was like on the block potentially. But then after they won and he became president, not only did they not do it, but they actually fired weed smoking staffers. I remember they implemented drug testing and they started kicking out people for smoking marijuana, even after winning. I mean, he could have immediately descheduled it, you know?
So really, I mean, I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it, but hopefully this reclassification, which, by the way, polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life. We're joined today by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's doing a fantastic job, Administrator of Centers for Medicare and Medicaid.
God, I'm sorry, I'm looking it up because I remember him doing something. It's so fucking dickless. In 2022, the Biden admin initiated the regulatory process to review cannabis's federal classification. Insane. Its classification as a Schedule I controlled substance is medically, scientifically, ethically, and legally indefensible. Nobody sane actually believes that. The only people who defend it as a Schedule I controlled substance are people who think that, like, anyone who's ever smoked a joint should be shot or whatever. We're talking about, like, an incomprehensibly out of touch, racist, like, marginal demographic in society, you know. But all Biden did was initiate review. Oh, you know, we'll take a look at it. At any point, the White House could have just said, yeah, we're going to deschedule it. It is our regulatory agency, after all.
Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, the FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary, Director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, and the Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, Dr. Nora Valkow, as well as Dr. Ilana Braun from the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Duke University's Dr. David Casseret, the National Commander of the American Legion, Dan Wiley, and my friend Howard Kessler. Howard, how are you feeling? I'm telling you, he looks better than he did 20 years ago. But I don't want to go through what you went through to get there. Right? But it looks like you're doing great.
Biden actually scheduled it as Class 3. When Trump became president, he ended the study, which automatically scheduled it to the Class 1 drug. No, it's so Democrat man. The conclusion derived from the reviews that Biden's White House initiated recommended a Schedule 3 reclassification, which was then itself submitted for like processing and review and stuff. At no point did Biden stand up there and say, we are rescheduling. We're not initiating a review. We're not putting it to committee. We are pushing for this. And if he had done that, it would have been popular and he could have taken credit for it. And Trump would have looked bad if he had stopped that process. But because all Biden did was relegate it to review, it meant that Trump had the ability to stop it when he got in and then implement it himself. It's shit, like the Democrats are fucking allergic to good decision making when it comes to politics. Why would you leave it to review? Why would you wait? Why wouldn't you just do it?
I'm proud of you. I want to emphasize that the order I am about to sign is not...
Remember when Biden pushed for the ability to for Medicaid to negotiate drug prices, thus substantially lowering them, but then for no fucking reason scheduled the implementation to be after the next election, thereby allowing Trump to take office and either at his leisure cancel them or take credit for them?
The legalization, or it doesn't legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, and in no way sanctions its use as a recreational drug. It has nothing to do with that. Just as the prescription painkillers may have legitimate uses, but can also do irreversible damage and never, if you look at some of the damage that can be caused, wreck lives, and if it's abused, it's never safe to use powerful controlled substances in recreational manners, and especially in this case, if you take a look, illegal and unregulated drugs, very, very bad thing. So I've always told my children, don't take drugs, no drinking, no smoking, and just stay away from drugs. I have been, they would look at me and they said, Dad, would you stop saying that? I would say it every time I looked at it practically. Young Americans are especially at risk, so unless a drug is recommended by a doctor for medical reasons, just don't do it. At the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers, and they cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems.
Trump's getting a lot of flack from right-wingers for this. He'll survive it. Basically, the war on marijuana, it ended so long ago. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. I get only the most like delusional backwards boomer types. Marijuana use is so fucking common now. So I don't know. This will be to his benefit. Now, will it distract people from Epstein?
40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe. We're also asking Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to ensure seniors can access CBD products they have found beneficial for pain and other reasons. Some people are literally dying, and they're dying with tremendous pain, and this can, in many cases, literally stop it. And they have their senses about them, as opposed to painkillers, which don't allow that, don't allow them to die with dignity, frankly. I promise to be the president of common sense, and that is exactly what we're doing. This is really something having to do with common sense.
Is it just me, or is he slurring really bad? I mean, he sounds pretty bad, but he always does these days, you know?
It's something having to do with the fact that so many people that I respect ask me to do. People that are having problems, big problems. They are having big problems with illness, with cancer in particular. I now want to ask Dr. Oz to say a few words, followed by Dr. Braun,
Dr. Oz, we just saw that guy.
Dan Wiley and Dr. Valkow, and we'll sign the order as soon as they're complete, and we'll take some questions. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you for always bravely pushing for common sense change, as you call it. So, President Trump, Secretary Kennedy have been pushing for change. They're passionate in their desire to help the American people, and they have relentlessly pursued this agenda throughout this administration. This also includes a deep passion for research, gold standard research, as Secretary Kennedy also says. But there's another side to the president that often isn't reflected in media reports, and that's the deep passion he has for the people in his life. And he has called me frequently about the people who are calling him, as he alluded to, who are saying that they've got problems and they got relief from some of the solutions we're talking about today. Howard Kessler, who's standing behind me here, who's a mutual friend of ours, was an early caller of the president. Many others have ever reached out as well. And Howard's been a passionate advocate for avoiding narcotics, especially in seniors, and particularly seniors suffering from cancer. And that's a population that is a very important one, and it's a sympathetic population that's desirous of trying new ways besides some of the conventional approaches that have been tested by pharmaceutical companies but have untoward side effects. At the beginning of the year, one of the first things the president told me, he doesn't actually tell you, he demanded from me, that my agency, CMS...
Nobody demands from him. Nobody. You have to know him.
That's right.
Okay.
So the hard...
The stress that can come with a diagnosis, symptoms that can interfere with treatment and make recovery much more difficult.
Trans people don't get health care, but we get weed. This is the cost of progress. The fucked up I want to horseshoe theory this too, because like I'm fully in favor of marijuana being descheduled, but like, you know what's not a Schedule 3 controlled substance? Alcohol. You can buy that shit at the store pretty easily. And I don't think it's good when people drink a bunch either, you know? I'm maintaining my position that the US government right now wants us to use AI for all basic daily tasks and numb our emotions with alcohol and marijuana, you know? That's the ideal citizen for them right now, okay? We want everyone to be like an AI, fucking corpo slave, permanently numb on sedatives. Trump is anti-alcohol. Yes, Trump is personally anti-alcohol. Alcohol use has gone down quite a bit, anyway. Just stay woke, my friends. Make sure to do your daily stretches.
Many medications we use for acute anxiety carry significant risks, particularly in the older adults. That's why we're studying specific natural compounds found...
So hard drugs are legal, but puberty blockers aren't? Those two things aren't really related. Schedule 3 just refers to the potential for abuse or addiction of a drug potentially, and carries with it guidelines for its use and how easy it is to access, essentially. Puberty blockers are like in a different category, essentially. We're different kind of thing.
In cannabis, including the non-addictive cannabidiol, to understand whether they can safely and effectively help manage anxiety during cancer treatment. Rescheduling allows us to ask these questions rigorously about dosing, about safety, and who may benefit most. This research reflects the best of federal investment, helping people not only live longer, but live better. Thank you, Mr. President, for supporting careful, science-based...
Do you think people might be too numb from social media and AI to need to get numb from alcohol? No, I think it's because alcohol is much, much, much better enjoyed as a social drink. And also alcohol has calories. A lot of people are kind of like weight conscious, They don't want the calories of alcohol. Weed has no calories. And also you tend to smoke alone. Well, you don't have to smoke alone. You can smoke at a party, obviously, but a lot of people do smoke alone as like a maintenance thing. It's implemented differently to alcohol, Yeah, the fact that alcohol tends to encourage social behavior is like the one good part of it, Tends to, not always.
Research that puts patients first.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. That's beautiful.
Scientific studies.
Oh my God.
It's a great solution to much better health care at a much lower cost. Yeah, please.
But do you want Congress to extend these ACA subsidies?
Well, I'd like not to be able to do it. I'd like to get right into this and not ask Oz this question in particular, but I'd like to see us get right into this. I don't know why we have to extend. This could be done rapidly if the Democrats would come along. We have a problem. The insurance companies own the Democrat Party. They own it. And the Democrats having a hard time. They give a lot of money to the Democrats. Very little money to Republicans, by the way. A lot of money to Democrats. And they're going to have to decide, do they want to do the right thing or do they want to be beholden to the insurance companies? They're making a fortune. I want the money to go to the people. Go ahead, Oz. How would you say that?
I agree with the president. We have some ideas out there. Congress is working through some concepts. But I just want to emphasize that the ACAs are not imploding based on the data we just received from the federal marketplace.
This can go very quickly, actually. Yes, please.
Mr. President, can I ask you clarify something for me on the Federal Reserve? How many people are you interviewing for the Fed chairman, and what did you think of Chris Waller?
I think he's great. I mean, he's a...
Remember, we are just a few months out from Powell getting removed and Donald Trump putting a loyalist toady in as chair of the Federal Reserve. So good luck with that. Rate cuts to zero? I don't see why not.
Been a man who's been there a long time, somebody that I was very involved with in the sense of his career, and he's a fantastic man. I met him yesterday, again.
So how many people are you looking at?
We're talking to 3 or 4. I think every one of them would be a good choice, honestly.
Michelle Bowman?
We'll be making a decision pretty
Is
quick.
Michelle Bowman on that list too? Are you going to interview her?
She's fantastic. She's a fantastic.
Move it along.
I'll only tell you that when you see polls of 82% of the people want this, when I have friends that are really, really sick and they've gone through, I guess you could say, unfortunately, I don't want to become too involved in it because I don't want it happening, but these are people that really know what's going on. This is something that makes them feel better.
For housing?
I'm looking at it.
What would
yeah,
that look
I'm
like?
looking
What
at
would that
it.
mobilize?
You know, there's 2 thoughts on housing. You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for the house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden, and it drives the housing prices down. A military that...
Does nobody want to talk about weed?
In my opinion, behind it all, 25 to 30,000 people being killed a month, young people being killed a month. Steve, please.
When do you expect to make your announcement about the new Fed chair, sir? Before the end of the year? What do you think?
Over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know before the end of the year, but pretty soon.
And then the Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night. Tell us what your message is going to be there, sir.
Say what?
When you go to Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night, what's your message going to be there?
Well, it's not going to be that much different from what I did last night.
How's the mainstream media talking about this?
That's a good one.
Reclassifying marijuana as a Schedule III drug from a Schedule I that would allow for more research.
How is marijuana classified, and what exactly is changing here?
Yeah, so we refer to it as a schedule. These are controlled substances, and there's 5 schedules, Schedule 1 through Schedule 5. And what President Trump and others were sort of referring to is the fact that for a long time now, cannabis has been considered a Schedule I substance. And I don't know if we have this. We can put it up on the screen. It has very specific language there in terms of what that means. One of the headlines having, and for the first time,
Panel?
that
Things. What is it not going to change?
Opinions?
well, it's not making cannabis legal. I think that was one of the big points that was made over and over again. It is still a controlled substance, and the discussion was really around medicinal use of cannabis, not recreational use. So, keep in mind again, there are these schedules of controlled substances.
Crazy how the Trump admin was actually more progressive on marijuana than the Biden admin. Well, keep in mind that the Biden administration also doesn't need to distract itself from the Epstein files. Of everything negative we can say about the Biden administration, one thing we can say, to its credit, fairly, I think, is that I really don't think Biden knew Epstein. I just don't think he did. It's just the one guy. He didn't have to break glass in case of emergency. Then why didn't he release the files? Honestly. Biden's too dinosaur age for the Epstein files, I suppose. No, it's that Biden never had money. Biden couldn't have been associated with Epstein because he really was just like a middle-class guy in politics. He didn't have any financial ties, really. He didn't have any cultural ties either. He was a pretty, average Joe. Obviously had political power, but it seems like Epstein didn't really hang around with people just for being politically powerful. There had to be something else. Money or culture, some kind of fame, not just like any old politician, you know? You had to be the right kind of party boy. Does this mean we've crossed a real milestone towards permanent, or permanent milestone towards federal legalization? Yeah, probably. It's gonna happen in our lifetimes, almost certainly. Marijuana is just too ubiquitously used. It's too popular. The fact that it hasn't already been legalized is just a hanger-on. It's just inertia. I'm so excited about the research using it. It does have legitimate medicinal properties. As much as stoners weaponize that fact to, you know, to their benefit. It is true. Freedom used to be popular too. Oh. Wait, what?
Volumes. Far beyond what is remotely possible for businesses of their size.
What are we doing?
That and things like freeing
National Defense Authorization Act. Is that right now? That was 3 hours ago. Okay.
Controlled substances and recreational.
Same place as here.
Prove their pain. I think all of
The
those.
what? We're giving $100 trillion to Israel.
Reclassification. And I don't know that you have anything to say on it.
Let's go!
Whatever you
I
like.
just want to help the people 65
So
and
quiet in
over
this VOD.
and make a difference in their lives. And we have machines and talent that could do it, not in 8-year clinical trials, but in a year. And we're going to prove that.
That's great, man.